while. You enjoying the hot heat?
Hi, Sid. How you doing?
I'm okay. Just really hot. I was
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
fan
I
myself
mean,
down.
talking about
Yeah.
the heat, it's an absolute scorcher. It's an absolute scorcher outside today, buddy. Uh, I think the weather forecast was saying 30, but it kind of feels like 40,
Yeah, I
40,
think it's
45.
the
Yeah, it's it's
yeah. I
it's,
think
it's
it's yeah.
so
I think it's the
I'm just
humidity that feels like it.
yeah, just trying to cool off.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, of
Okay.
course. I mean,
All
Durban's
right.
humidity is one of them.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to the screen here, and okay, yeah, it is. Okay, let's check it up here. Go to fixtures and results. Oh, by the way, can you see my screen? By the way.
Yeah, I can, but can you just zoom that in a bit?
Sure. Okay, just waiting for this to load. Let me know if you can see it
Yeah,
more after I click here. How that?
yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
How that?
Quite familiar with this. This
Yeah, I
is
made it.
The Crick Info page. So yeah, I'm quite familiar with this.
Yeah. Okay, play of the match was Kuldeep Yadav, 5 for 72. He made, I think, 30 runs, if I'm reading this correctly, and he took 2 for 40. Okay, and then Yashish Jaiswal was the man of the series with 712 runs, and India won by an innings and 64 runs. It was pretty much a funeral, this game. They won the series 4-1. What were your thoughts, man?
Yeah, massive, massive, Sid. I mean, after the first test, you were kind of thinking that this could be a close series, but I mean, the way India came
Hmm.
back so
Hmm.
emphatically thereafter. Let's be honest. I mean, there were quite a few senior players that were missing in this Indian side. I mean, the likes
Yeah,
of
a lot of
KL
them.
Rahul, the likes of Kohli, the likes of
Kohli.
Rishabh Pant. But this Indian
Yeah.
team showed so much of character. And obviously, Bumrah
Hmm.
missed the last test match as well, hey? Was
Yeah.
it the third test match
Yeah.
or the fourth test match? But I know
I
he did
think it
miss one of
was
those
the
test
fourth. I
matches.
think it was the fourth, eh? It was the fourth. Yeah, the rest of
Yeah.
that one.
So I
Yeah.
mean, this is an emphatic series win for India. I mean, 4-1. It doesn't get more emphatic than that in a five-test series. I mean, if they took their chances in the first game, this could have easily been 5-0.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that to you. So it's and yet you have that's embarrassing. Yeah, and yet you have people like Michael Vaughan saying that if England taking the chance that the scoreline could have been in the fourth test or fourth, then we would have had an exciting match. I think the first test
Yeah.
it would have been 1-0 to them, and I don't know how England would have even won
Look, I think the disappointing thing for England in the series, can you hear me?
at home. Pardon?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, hey man. What were you saying?
Hey, hey. Yeah, look, Michael Vaughan is obviously entitled to his opinion. But I think the most disappointing thing when you look at England, that they did compete. They did compete in
Hmm.
phases in the series. And
Hmm.
like you said, I mean, the last game was quite a close test match, eh? The fourth test. I think the way they
Hmm.
collapsed in that second innings kind of,
Hmm.
it kind of summed up the series for England in a way. Trying to play this attacking brand of cricket, but not trying to find a balance between it. And look, it is what it is.
Yeah.
This any tour to India at the moment, I think it's the toughest challenge for any visiting side in the
Hmm.
world to come and win here. So I think this is a challenge for world cricket in itself to actually come
Hmm.
and try and win a test series in India in those conditions
Yeah.
against this team that has so many match winners. I mean, If you look at that spin trio of Jadeja, Ashwin, Kuldeep, I mean, they're
Yeah.
fantastic. They're amazing in those conditions. I mean, at times
Yeah.
unplayable, and we saw it in the series. At times they looked unplayable. I mean, Kuldeep, this is a series that really, raised his reputation in Test match cricket, because I think for a long time Kuldeep has been favoured in white ball cricket and not so much in Test match. So I mean, good luck to Aksar trying to get back into this lineup, because I mean,
Yeah. It's
Kuldeep is not going to
difficult.
go anywhere anytime soon with the kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
performances that he's given in the series. So that, I mean, Ashwin, I mean, the wily old fox, I mean, so experienced campaigner. I mean, he just showed his class again in this second innings. I mean, some of those deliveries were beautiful. I mean, the one that he bowled, Duckett. I mean, Duckett tried to come down and hit him over long on, but just missed it completely. Got beaten with a flight. So I mean, Ashwin is a very thinking cricketer, and I mean, you just saw his class there. But I mean, a big shout out to Jimmy Anderson. I mean, getting to 700 Test wickets. It's a fantastic achievement. I mean, at his age and the longevity. I mean, born in 1982. I don't think there's a lot of players that are born in 1982 that are actually still playing cricket at the highest level. So I mean, credit to him, man. I mean, the longevity that he's given this England side has been sensational. And I mean, on his day, he is one of the best swing bowlers in the world. So yeah, it's been a tough series for England, hey, and I've got to point out things that because some of these experienced players that were backed really didn't perform, and I think the main one is probably Bairstow. There was a lot of expectations on Bairstow in the series, and he didn't perform. But I mean, the overall thing about Bazball, I mean, can Bazball work away from home? That's the question, Sid. I mean, we've seen Bazball work. We've seen England's attacking brand of cricket work in England. It's work in those conditions. It worked in Pakistan, but I mean, Pakistan were really poor. Let's be honest, they were really poor, and I mean, they are nowhere in the level of India at the moment in terms of Test match cricket. They're nowhere at that level, and those pitches were really. I mean, I don't know
Jokish.
what you want to call it. I know you normally call it roads, so it's probably a road, probably 3 roads that were prepared for those Test matches. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So in that
I
sense,
don't know what. I don't know
England still has a lot to prove
what
away
was
from home in
smoking.
terms of this the way that they're playing, because I think it's important to find a balance between attack and defense, and I think they didn't. I think they tried to go too hard too early at times, and it's kind of backfired on them. And yeah, I mean, as I said, experienced players did not step up in the series. I mean, Pope, after the first test, you didn't really see much from him. Stokes, a pretty average series, given his high standards as a player. Root, did score a century in the last game, but again, not quite enough in a 5 test series. There wasn't enough runs from the top
Yeah.
order to actually, get those big totals to put pressure on this Indian side. Because I mean, if you want to put pressure on this Indian side, you've got to make more than 400 in your first innings. At 200 is definitely not going to cut it. I mean, India is going to wipe that 200 off before you know it. But
Yeah.
as you said, the star of the series has been Jaiswal. I mean, boy, he's had a series to remember for a very, very long time. I mean, so prolific, 712 runs in a 5-match series, which is amazing. Especially in these times of so much of white ball cricket, and you don't have so much of emphasis on the red ball game where players are patient. But I think he was very patient in the series at certain times. So yeah, so I mean, the unbelievable achievement from India to win 4-1.
Yeah.
And as I say, this is a final frontier for a lot of teams now to actually come to India and win a Test series.
Yeah, man. It's been like 17 unbeaten series for India. So yeah, that does seem to be like the benchmark, because obviously countries like Australia and England can be conquered whenever they do get conquered. And I think the frustration with England, right, is that that they started well in the first test. Fine, they had a Trying to have some luck with drop catches, and India were probably switched off, and
Which
that's
is
what
kind of
let them
looking
down. But
very, very
then,
far away for a lot of teams at the moment. I mean, Australia.
hmm, hmm, hmm,
Yeah, I mean,
hmm.
so many teams came here to these shows
No,
and
no,
got thrashed. I mean, England have got thrashed in the space of, I'd say in the space of 3 years they've lost 2 series, and quite emphatically. Australia came here last year. I mean, weren't that much of a match for India. I mean, that series was a
no. Just
foregone conclusion. SA came here 3 years. Uh, go and spanked as well. So I mean, coming to India. Hello.
Hi, Avish. Hi, did you hear what I said just now? Because I think our connection was a bit
Uh,
dodgy. No, what I
you,
was saying is,
you, yeah,
sorry.
go for it.
Oh yeah, no, I was just trying to say in a nutshell that England went
Yeah,
away
yeah.
from
So
what they did
sorry, you
well
were
in the
saying,
first
sir.
test. Was I was saying that what frustrated me about England that after the first test where they did well with the sweeps, reverse sweeps, they stopped doing it. Like even from the second test onwards, I mean, they started to play really like in the third test in the second inning, they played ball. They weren't even playing baseball, and then they got out for whatever score there was. Had they played aggressively and got out for the same score, I could have digested that. Fourth test, it was complete ball. Fine, I admit the pitch was tricky, but yeah, first test was really ball. Hardly any sweeps, hardly reverse sweeps. It's like a funeral, man. I mean, I could have accepted England losing the way they did, but it felt that I don't know. They just don't have a balance at this baseball. Either they play over aggressively, or
Yeah, I
either
mean,
play too boringly. I mean, there's no balance. My theory in baseball, if you're going to play aggressively and you get the fielders back, then you can hit the singles. You know, even if you're hitting 4 to 5 singles and over, that's fine. You're not playing like T20 cricket here.
absolutely. So I mean, as you said, after the first test, they probably went into their shell, and you're talking about
Hmm.
ball. Yeah, so it was that. So went away from their strengths. They went away from their strengths. So
Hmm.
that is the most, I would say, confusing thing looking at this England side series. That
Hmm. Hmm.
I wonder this Indian side,
Hmm.
with the players that were missing, actually kind of put some fear back into this England side, which you wouldn't expect, because I mean they've been playing so fearless cricket the last couple of years. But I mean, the challenge for them is spin as well. So I mean, spin is always going to be a challenge for this England side. I don't
Hmm.
think they played well enough.
Hmm.
I don't think it's been a good 6 months for this England team. I mean, you talk about white ball cricket as well. I mean, look at the World Cup. The World Cup was a bit of a shambles, and then I mean, coming to this series here. I mean, you lost in the West Indies. You lost the
Hmm.
T20 series in the West Indies. Coming to the series, you won the first game, and then I mean, absolutely outplayed in the next one. So I think they've got to like kind of press the reset button.
I just think they need to balance it out. I mean, they just got to be a bit more intelligent with it. Like if you're going to play aggressively and you have the fielders back, just hit the singles, you know. Then the opposition captain is tearing his hair because the guys aren't looking for boundaries anymore. They're just like hitting the singles and the twos. It's like, but before we wrap this section
Yeah, no,
out for
definitely. I
this
mean,
test, yeah. Oh, sorry.
yeah, I mean,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
all good and well to play this kind of cricket in home conditions, because I
Mm,
mean, you're used to those kind of conditions. But the challenge is
mm,
to try and play it away from home. And I think playing away from home,
mm,
you really can't be playing the way that you play in home conditions. You've got to
mm,
balance, as you said, between attack and
mm,
offense, and they haven't really found that balance in their game in this. I mean, be it after the first, they didn't find that balance.
Yeah, before we wrap off this series, I must admit, man, the pitches were like fantastic compared to the last test series. I mean, man, those were like real radical. These pitches were like so nice. It's crazy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the one thing you can't the series is the pitches, because I mean we all know what happened in the last series with those kind of pitches. Those pitches were crumbling after day 3. So I mean these were good pitches bet on. I just think England didn't apply themselves. I think it was fair enough. England did not apply themselves enough in the series. And I mean, India's tail wagged quite a bit in the series. Let's be honest. Those runs at that with the tail were quite vital, especially in that fourth test when England made 370, and then India got close there. They got close. I think it was a 60-run deficit, and I mean, the way England imploded in that second innings was not something that you'd associate them with. But I mean, they did implode. Let's be honest. So yeah, that kind of summed up the series for me.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think, am I looking at this right? No, the fourth test, sorry. Yeah, 355, 353, 307, 145, and then obviously the 5-wicket went there.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that 145. That's where the game was lost. I mean, we can all talk about, I mean, not being able to bowl India out, but I mean, if you're going to getting second innings, you're not going to win 20 test matches, mate.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's true. I just wanted to check this thing out. Okay, can you hear me? Oh, okay. Okay, fine. We are back here. I just thought we should just go to this Australia and New Zealand quickly. We'll just go through the T20 there quickly. They won the series 3-0 Australia, and the player of the match was Matthew Short. And then the man of the series was actually Mitchell Marsh. Yeah, what were your quick thoughts on this T20 series, or were you not able to watch it?
I wasn't able to. I did see the scores. A bit of a funeral of a series for. I think it's been a bit of a funeral for New Zealand ever since Australia have actually come to their shores. I mean, as you said, 3-0 whitewash in that first in the T20 series, and then getting blown away in that first test set. I think that was kind of disappointing. The performance that we saw from New Zealand. But I mean, having said that, this test match. The one that's ongoing, it's actually, I think they in the chance of actually beating Australia. Yeah, I mean, what is it? 77 for 4, needing 200.
Yeah,
and 77.
At one stage there were 30 something. At one stage there were 30. At one stage there were 30 something for 4. So it was a lot worse. But I think Australia is usually showing fighting spirit. So I think that's what you would expect from them. Try to see here. What is the second test here? Let's see. Oh, here it is. Sorry. I'm trying to find it here. Oh, here it is. Okay, 77 for 4. Let's look at the scorecard here. Where is it here? Sorry about that. Just trying to see first innings, second innings, and oh, here it is. Right over here, 4 for 34 at one stage.
Yeah, I mean, look at that, man. Sears, I mean, he bowled beautifully. And then Matt Henry, man, he's so good in those conditions, eh? You could see a bit of a counter attack from Travis Head and Mitchell Marsh. And I mean, we all know how dangerous these two players are, Sid. I mean, they cause a lot of pain for our teams in the World Cup, didn't they?
Yes, yeah. They caused pain for India, especially. Yeah, man. Don't remind me.
Oh,
Man.
yeah, absolutely.
That,
Absolutely. So, I mean, this is a prize wicket. Look, I'll give you my opinion here. If New Zealand can get Travis tomorrow morning, I think there's a game to be won here, because Travis Head is a game changer here. If you get Travis Head early, I think Australia will be under severe pressure here. So I just hope they don't bottle this one, eh? They in a good position here. They're in a good position to win this Test match, and I hope they can pull it through, because I mean the bowlers have bowled beautifully so far. I mean, albeit this partnership. So, I mean, they kind of fought their way back into this game, eh? After getting skittled out for 162 in that first innings, which was obviously below par. But I mean, they're in with an opportunity now, so let's just hope they can hold their nerve here, and get one over Australia. I think this will be a famous win for them. Honestly speaking, it's been too long since they last beat Australia, so I think long overdue, eh?
Yeah, I think the last time I saw them beat Australia was when Chris Cairns got that final wicket. That was in Sydney, if I can remember. That was too long. You're laughing.
Whoa! Wow!
I think so.
Wow!
Yeah. I think so.
So that is some time back. If I'm not mistaken, I think their last win against Australia was probably in 2011 when Michael Clarke was captain.
Really?
You can just go back and check that. But I think they drew a series 1-1 in Australia, which was quite an achievement for New Zealand, to be honest with you.
I don't remember that, but I don't remember that.
Just go and have a look at it. But I think that was probably the last time. But I mean, they in command here. They're in command here, and there's no reason why they can't win this game here. But I mean, we all know what Travis Head can do. Hey, I mean, but the one thing about Head, he's going to give you chances, and I think it's important to just capitalize on those chances. So, yeah, it is what it is. Hey,
I just want to check something. When did New Zealand last
Test championship
Australia? Oh, okay.
Sure.
Let's say in a test.
In a test match.
I just want to check something.
In a test match.
Yeah, because it's been a long time, man. It's been really too long. But
it really has.
I tell you why I'm saying that, because I just don't remember them. Oh yeah, it says okay. Oh yeah. Okay, let me just share the screen instead. Oh yeah, it says there, Kiwis on verge of ending 31-year drought after latest Smith failure sparks nightmare collapse. So yeah, I was right. That's been a long time. 31 years. That's long.
Yeah, so I think you're referring to them beating Australia in New Zealand. 31 years is a long time, sir.
No, I was referring to in general, because the last time I remember Australia beat New Zealand beat Australia was actually in Australia. It was in Sydney. I remember Chris Cairns got that final wicket. They were defending a real Kachara score, and they still did it.
Yeah, I mean, he was a great all-rounder, hey? One of the great all-rounders. So yeah. I mean, it's some time back. Yeah. It really is some time back. So yeah,
I'm going through
31 years. Here, man. 31 years, sir. I mean, that's a generation.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about an entire generation here that they haven't beaten Australia in a test match. That's massive.
Yeah. What do you think it comes down? What do you think it comes down to? Do you think it's all mental, or do you think Australia have just been too good? I think it's a combination of the two.
I personally think it's all mental, because I mean, Australia is a bogey side for New Zealand, and I've seen it in tournaments as well, Sid, where New Zealand have actually struggled against Australia, and for a long time So to me,
Mm-hmm.
it's purely mental. It's purely mental, I believe. I mean,
Okay.
if you look at South Africa back in the days when, I mean, you had the likes of Shane Warne and you had the likes of McGrath, and they couldn't get one over Australia in test matches. It was mental. It was absolutely mental. But I mean, once those players retired, I mean, you got to see you came across and you saw SA's dominance over Australia, especially in test matches in Australia. So yeah, it's definitely mental. I mean, 31 years is a long time. Hey, that's 3 decades.
Mm.
I mean, the Pakistan record in Australia is not any better.
Yeah, man. But they used to have a toss
Yeah,
themselves, man. Drop catches for fun, man. They were dropping catches for fun, so they just
yeah. I mean,
lost both.
some real kachara cricket there from Pakistan. They just don't seem to learn. They just don't seem to learn. They go to Australia two after two, and they keep on making the same mistakes. They keep on making the same mistakes.
They're a lost cause, man. The whole system is a lost cause. But I don't want to get into I don't want to get into Pakistan. What have your thoughts on the pitch has been in the series? Because I know this first test pitch was really spicy, and this pitch seemed even at the beginning spicier, but it seems like the pitch has really, calmed down a lot. So I think it's not so venomous, this pitch. It seems like if you hang in there, you can't score runs.
Yeah, look, I think the pitch has gotten better because I mean, if New Zealand could make
Mm.
370 in their
Mm.
second innings, I mean, there were about four players that actually got over the 50-run mark. So I mean, there's runs to be scored there. I mean, they all had starts, so I don't think it's a venomous pitch in the sense.
Mm.
I think it's a pitch. It's a new ball pitch. Let's be it's a new ball
Okay.
pitch. The new ball is going to do a lot. And
Mm.
once you able to see out that new ball, I think there is runs to be scored. So I
Mm.
mean, 200. What is it? 201 left to win with 6 wickets in hand. Ooh, I mean, Sid, this is really close, buddy. This is really close.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna
But
go with New Zealand
yeah.
here. I'm gonna go with
Okay.
New Zealand here just by a whisker. I think they're
Okay.
gonna win, but it's gonna be a very small margin because we know how
Yeah.
Australia fight right till
Yeah.
the end. I mean they've got a long batting lineup as well. They've got
Yeah.
they just never give up. They just never give up. I mean you just saw
Yeah.
the last game with Cameron Green and Hazelwood.
Mm.
I mean they were going
Mm.
cuckoos. Well, that was a 10th wicket stand. I mean you, you,
Yeah.
you don't you, you you don't want that as a captain. You don't want that as a bowling
Mm.
team. I mean, for
Yeah.
for a 10th wicket partnership to go over 90 is
Yeah.
absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, I just hope
Yeah.
they can get this one done. Yeah, I mean, I think it's been far too long. They haven't
Mm.
beaten Australia
Yeah.
in New Zealand. 31
Mm.
years. Wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow. That's a long
Yeah.
time, buddy.
Yeah.
So
Before we wrap off, India is top of the test table with the 68.51 percentage rankings. Australia are third. If New Zealand win, they'll still be second on the table. At the moment, the percentage ranking points are 60. Let me see if I can share the screen to you and just show it to you. Oh, sure. But
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure, sure, sure.
yeah, I don't know what the feather's actually happening there. Oh, okay, yeah, it is. Okay, yeah, it is. Let me just show it to you because this is quite fascinating. Okay, do you
It
see
is.
my? It is okay. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Do you see it?
Yeah, yeah. I can see it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
cricket
mean,
must be. Yeah, sorry. You first.
yeah, I mean, look at England. England have played 10 games, so they've played quite a few games compared to a lot of teams
Hmm.
at the bottom. I mean, look at South Africa, just four test matches.
Yeah.
I feel that uh,
Hmm. Oh, sorry, I can't hear you there. I think the network. I think the network there broke. Oh, oh, sorry. What you said?
Pakistan.
Yeah, Pakistan are definitely. Yeah. Oh, Avish, can you hear me? Let's see if you- Okay, Avish, before we get cut off any more further, what were you just saying on this table?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at England. I mean, England played matches, but they
Hmm.
second from bottom. They're
Yeah.
inconsistent.
Yeah.
Hello,
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can hear you.
hello.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me, bud? Oh, okay. Can you hear me? Hello? Oh, bud, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but sorry, man. I was talking. I was referring to England being so inconsistent with their performances. They played 10 matches, but they second from bottom. So that's something
Yeah,
that
they
they
are.
need to work
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. It's kind of
So
like it reminds me of the 50 over World Cup. They are really cutted at the moment, England, because they're not finding the right balance. Like in the 50 over World
balance.
Cup, they were
Yes, I
playing
think
ball. Yeah, yeah. 50 over World Cup, they were playing ball, and now they're transferring that into the last couple of Test matches. They need to get back to bazzing it up. Even if
yeah,
they, you see, I'm
yeah,
okay
yeah,
with them
yeah.
losing playing
Absolutely.
aggressively. I don't mind them losing playing aggressively. At least they stick into a consistency pattern. But when you keep flipping and flopping, it's very irritating to watch. But yeah, the table just shows you the weirdness of this test calculation. Look at Bangladesh, fourth in the table with only two matches. You have Pakistan at number five, which is even more bizarre. And while the rest of it is just kitchery, um, I'm hoping for an India and New Zealand final, because India seem to have although New Zealand like a bogey team, so maybe I'd hope that South Africa maybe make a surprise and come and play us in the finals. Although there's no guarantee India will beat South Africa either, so I think it'll be an interesting final though. Hello, oh, hello, did you hear me? Oh, Avish, did you hear what I said there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you said something about Khichdi there. A lot of teams
Uh,
jumbled up together.
uh, yeah, yeah. No, no. What I said at the end was that India would probably prefer to play a team like maybe South Africa in the final. If South Africa could actually come up that table, because India seemed to have a problem with New Zealand and Australia. So I think I'd hope South Africa do come up that table. Although there's no guarantees they'll even beat South Africa as well, especially if they're playing in a spicy pitch like they did against Australia in the previous championship final. So either way, India will have to still up their game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's still early days, Sid. I think it's still early days. There's a lot of
Hmm.
matches that need to be concluded, and we obviously want to see more Test match cricket because it's such a fascinating game. But
Hmm.
I mean, I think all roads lead to the IPL now, so
Oh
we got to
yes.
contend with the IPL
Yeah,
for the next 2 months. So
yeah. You want to do a quick preview of it, or you want to rather leave that for next week?
I think we leave that for next week. I think that'll be quite interesting to do a review for that one. Yeah, so we leave it for
Yeah, I
next week, and
noticed
then
this.
the
Yeah,
next week
I
we.
noticed that they only left half the schedule for the IPL. They haven't done the rest of it. I think it must be because of elections.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little bit surprising for me. They haven't like obviously given us the full fixture schedule. So I don't know. You said something about elections.
Yeah, Indian elections.
Oh my word! That's gonna be causing havoc. Sid. I mean, with the BJP and the other parties. I mean, they take up a lot of they take up a lot of attention in India. So
Hmm.
what's going to happen? What's going to happen there if they have to reschedule this tournament? Because please, I don't want to go back to the UAE, buddy. I mean, we've had too many IPLs in the UAE. I don't want to go back to the
Stop
UAE,
it.
man. Come on.
No, no, they won't. They won't. That's why they delaying the second part of the schedule because they wanted to come back to India, which is fair. I mean, I don't think they've had the tournament back in the UAE in a while. Have they? Was it 2 years ago they had it? I don't remember anymore. No,
Yes,
they'll
two
have it
years
back
ago.
in
Yes.
India. They'll have it back in India. They don't want to keep going back and forth to UAE. I don't think it's practical, and the pitches there are a bit weird.
I
So
mean,
we
if
rather just
anything,
keep it.
if they wanna actually if they want to mix and match this around, they could obviously come down here, and we've got the facilities. And you know what? We'll go see
Problem is,
some of those
it's
games.
an 8-hour flight, man. Yeah, it's probably an 8-hour flight. UAE like 3
Yeah,
hours, so it's more convenient for them to do
it's
it that way. But I
it's
know what you're saying.
it's. I think it's a logistics thing.
Hmm.
It's definitely a logistics thing. Yeah, 8 hours,
Hmm.
as you said. So that's
Hmm.
the only challenge. But I mean, with regards to the climate and
Yeah, of course. It
facilities,
can't beat us.
I mean,
Yeah,
we've got it
can't
all.
beat
We've
us
got it all,
today.
buddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's be
Yeah.
honest, April and May
Yeah.
is not one of our rainier months, so I don't think
Okay.
we'll have a lot of rain in SA during those months. So I think it'd be good. It'll be good weather for the cricket. It'll be good weather for cricket in general. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
By the way, before.
I would
Uh-huh.
love for the IPL to come back here. I mean,
Of course.
it's such an
Of course.
eye-catching competition. Of course.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
remember, yeah, before we wrap this out, I've always had this dream that instead of this current test format, we have a test cricket World Cup whereby you have, I think, how many test nations are there at the moment? If you're including Afghanistan, I think we have about 9 or is it 8 at the moment, or is it 10? I don't even know how many there are.
Uh, how many competitive
Pardon?
nations are in Test cricket at the moment? How many competitive nations are there in Test cricket at the moment?
Hmm.
That's the biggest challenge. Because I think Test
Yeah.
cricket is one format where
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
haven't seen so much of the big five or the big
Yeah.
four being really challenged in a sense.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
always seem to be
Hmm.
winning and keep on winning.
Yeah,
And
but that's because they play more than the other teams. That's why I'm saying if you have a Test Cricket World Cup, at least they'll get that. And the way it'll work is that it won't be as long as what you or anyone would think, because you can have a lot of matches being played at the same time. That way, it could be done in about 2 months, like how you would have with the normal 50 over World Cup. And what will happen, you'll have some matches that will be televised. So, for example, you'll have a match like India's playing, Australia's playing, England's playing, and the host nation is when they're playing. So you don't need to have every single match being played, even if you have a lot of them happening at the same time. So, for example, you'll never show a match with Afghanistan playing against even Sri Lanka, because that'll be a waste of time for the viewers to watch. You'd rather have a match where you'd have like India playing, let's say, for example, South Africa, because that would naturally be shown. And I'd have South Africa be the host nation of the Test Cricket World Cup. We have a lot of
oh,
grounds.
absolutely. Look, I just want to say something. Right?
Yeah.
I haven't been a fan of this
Yeah,
WTC
yeah.
championship table.
Hmm.
The reason being is we haven't had an even distribution of test
Hmm.
matches.
Hmm.
And if you don't have an even distribution of test matches,
Hmm.
how can you call it a championship? I mean, how do you call a
Hmm.
World Cup a
Hmm.
championship?
Hmm.
Because I mean, if you call this a World Cup of
Hmm.
Test cricket,
Hmm.
that's what the
Hmm.
ICC is referring
Hmm.
to. You've got to have an even distribution of Test matches.
Yeah. Hence.
And once you have an even distribution of Test matches,
Yeah.
fair enough. The team that qualifies and the team that gets to the final
Hmm.
and wins the final, they deserve it. They deserve to be
Yeah.
Test champions.
Yeah.
And I don't see it happening here because
Hmm.
there's such a disparity
Hmm.
between the big three
Yeah.
and the rest of the nations in
Yeah.
terms of the number of Test matches that have been played.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is a challenge for me. I don't think it's a balanced tournament, Sid.
Of course.
I don't think it's a balanced one, and I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to what you call. It's going to grow in the sense where, because I mean,
Yeah.
the beauty of a World Cup is its
Hmm.
unpredictability.
Hmm.
Because I mean, there's no chance. There's no chance that a team like Pakistan can make the final in the WTC because they play so few Test matches.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the same with Sri Lanka. The same applies to Sri Lanka. The same applies to the West Indies. There's no way these
Hmm.
teams can make finals because they play so few Test
Hmm.
matches. So that's the biggest challenge I see
Yeah.
with this WTC.
And another problem is
Yeah,
that you have the final all within England. They must flex, they must mix it around. Even bring it to Australia. You have a good crowd in Australia. It's not like England's the only good crowd for test matches. So I think they should do that.
yeah. Look, I think it's a bit of colonial power being shifted there in the sense that they want to have this in England because it's a WTC final. I don't see any sense in that because I feel, as you said, fair enough. You had it in England in the first edition, but you've got to move it around the world now,
Hmm.
Sid. Why don't you have it on the Wanderers? Why don't you have it
Hmm.
at, as you said, in Australia?
Yeah.
Have it at the MCG,
Hmm.
or have it at Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
Move it around, let it grow. I think it's very important for other nations as well and other spectators to be able to watch this game in their country.
But how do you?
It can't always be in
Yeah,
England.
but how do you feel about the Test Cricket World Cup? Because if you have, let's say, hypothetically 10 teams playing, you can have all 10 matches happening at the same time. And I'll tell you why. Because at least that way you'll have 4 of those 5 matches being televised. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with technology. You can do that. You have, as I said, if SA, the host nation, have their matches playing by default, you'll have Australian matches being showing, England matches being showing, India's matches. You can have maybe 4 of those matches being televised. You don't need to have 5. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I love it. I love the idea.
Yeah.
My only issue is the duration.
Sorry, what you said?
We love Test. That's the question. We had this challenge. We had this challenge. We had this challenge with the 50 over World Cups that in India. I mean, there were so many games that had disappointing crowds. I mean, if you look at New Zealand and SA was disappointing. New Zealand and Australia was disappointing. I mean, every game that India played, they were sold out. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, that was the host nation.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at the other games weren't that's sold out. So, I mean, no doubts that June is going to be sold out and packed completely because it's T20 cricket and T20 cricket is selling.
Yeah.
So that's the only issue with me is can they get that revenue back? Because I mean, there's so many people out there that really don't have time for Test cricket anymore.
Yeah, my theory is that if you have most of the matches being day matches and then a few of them being day nighters, maybe you can have the day nighters when you have the tournament coming towards the end, because you can't make it too expensive. If you have a lot of day nighters, it will not work out, because especially if you have it hosted in South Africa, so you have majority of the matches then.
I'm actually all.
Sorry,
I'm actually all for day nighters, because day nighters, it actually gives the workers a chance to actually go and watch a few hours of cricket, because I mean, it's flexible. You know, people that finish work at a certain time, they can obviously go straight to stadium and watch the game. So I love day night test matches. I think we need to have more day night test matches in SA, because I think it brings flexibility, and that's what we want in the game. We want to grow test cricket. You know, we don't want test cricket to die, because test cricket is the most important format of the game.
Yeah, imagine SA versus Australia in a day-night test match in South Africa. That'd be so cool. Oh. Oh, hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry. I was just suggesting how SA versus Australia in a day-night test match. Oh, sure, but okay.